Hey guys, Robbie K here, coming at you with the final movie review of the week. This time we're looking at Little Women in hopes of bringing a fun drama to finish up the week of blockbuster activity. Now, for those of you new to the channel, welcome. I like to always just start out with explaining how we do this. First thing, we talk about the trailer. Phase 1 is a quick and dirty review, and Phase 2 goes into more of the details with it. So, as always, you get a little bit of something so that you can get your quick and dirty review, or you can go into the details for some discussion. Regardless, this is Robbie K bringing you Little Women, and we're going to start, as always, as I said, with the trailer. The trailer essentially shows that the movie promises to be a tale of 4 girls, primarily through the eyes of the lead character, Jo, as they go through life experiencing the difficulties, the beauties, and the challenges that come with kind of the modern era. A remake of a movie that came out back in the 90s, if not sooner, and even more so about a timeless book. This looks to be the drama romance movie of the year that will hopefully bring with it a lot of emotional tearjerker if you're that kind of person. But we don't know what's in store, so why don't we kind of get to what my review is. Now, the Phase 1 quick and dirty it is essentially a gigantic drama romance with an ups and downs roller coaster with acting to boot. That's just, I think, a very good rendition, modernizing a timeless piece of literature with a little bit of gusto. I myself really enjoyed the acting, thinking they brought it to life. And it's definitely one of those that if you want a good cry, tearjerker, there's going to be plenty of components in this dramatized, realistic movie that I think is going to speak to a lot of a lot of groups across the board. I can't say it's the most fun or the fastest movie, but it actually does a nice job keeping things engaged, fun, and full of that kind of dramatic spirit you may be looking for. Outside of it, again, it's just a very good piecemeal film that I think does a nice job of covering the qualities of life, and with it, hopefully bringing about just as a wild roller coaster emotions. Is it worth the trip to the theater? I guess it just depends if you want to go to a drama, but otherwise I would say that this is definitely one of those that could have probably stayed at home, but there's going to be more on that later. But regardless, the movie is exactly what the trailers promise. So if you're looking for just kind of a fun modernization and realizing that you have to kind of let go of that old-fashioned setting that the book and movie were originally in, I think you'll be alright. So that's kind of your quick and dirty. As always, if you're stopping at this point, thank you very much for sticking around. But if you want some more details, stick around, because here we go. When it comes to my likes of the movie, as you know, I prefer to talk about the likes. The movie is essentially all about the acting, I think, is one of the key components. The girls do a fantastic job, each one of them bringing their own vibe and personality to very emotionally charged characters one way or another. It's a realistic setting, so if you like that kind of component, this drama feel really sticks with it, and the girls do a nice job of taking kind of the realism and the drama portrayal and making it their own. I can honestly say that, again, there's great chemistry, feels like a sisterhood. And if that's what you're kind of looking for a ragtag bunch to kind of grip onto, each of the personality and qualm to remind you of someone in your life, you've got it with them. So bravo. And again, maybe not the most award-winning, but I never know with the Oscars these days, but certainly a good run at bringing literary characters to life with a nice modern twist. Now, speaking of the modern twist, again, this isn't taking place back like the other ones did, and kind of the post-technology, more of kind of the colonial / patriotic components before computers and everything came in. That is gone. So if you're not willing to let that go, you're not going to like this component or telling of it. But this one in general is a nice modern twist, blending technology and kind of modern approaches to a lot of things, and giving it that old-timey feel, but with that nice twist. And I really appreciated that adaptation, because I felt that they managed to cover the heart and soul of the book, at least the skeletal structures of it, with the nice new fresh coat of paint. I think, again, that this kind of brings in terms of the setting. I'm really impressed with the setting of the film, not only in terms of that it's modernized, but more so in the fact that the film does a fantastic job of just bringing this quaint little playhouse to kind of unfold everything into. You kind of get to feel the struggles and the edge of each character based on the setting alone. And much of that has to do with the cinematography, which again, this isn't the one with breathtaking views of waterfalls, amazing components of trying to capture an action shot, or even a brilliant way of making something that's obviously fake look real and feel real. But what it does is the cinematography does a great job of capturing that emotion, capturing that pizzazz, and bringing with it just the full frontal effects of just the emotional charge that I think they're working with. So bravo to them for catching every little tear, every little side angle to give you that dynamic approach. I myself think it's a fan. It was good on that component, and even more so, which is a small like, the pacing worked for me. And I have to go back and watch a couple of the classic ones, which I'm sure across the board are 1,000 times stronger than this movie, given their creation in the day of storytelling. But this one actually had a pace that didn't put me to sleep. And, you know, that might not be the case for a lot of people. I mean, dramas can keep people awake like that. But for me, it's a challenge sometimes. And I felt the pacing was good to bring out enough details to give me the story without diving so much that I wanted to fall asleep in my chair. But I have to say that my biggest thing that I liked about it was the music. Like the cinematography, the beautiful piano work, in particular with the symphony score, always manages to bring some goosebumps and add a little more pizzazz to the scene. And in those heart and throngs of, you know, those depressing, really core challenging approaches, and core challenging being your inner spiritual self and emotional core, not your core like you're working out on Insanity Video. It really kind of just brings all that beautiful emotion and artistry to life and just sells the scene. And when they get into a little more of the independent stuff, I'm not the biggest use of an indie song, but it worked for me better than I expected it to. So bravo on the musical selection and just the editing to bring it all together. Well done. Now, in regards to the dislikes, this is a bit of a challenge for me, but I'm gonna be as fair and possible as I can be. The first thing about this movie that's kind of a dislike is the, I guess, back and forth, 10 years, 13 years, etc. I haven't read the book in a while, and I don't quite remember how the original movie did it, but I felt that it was a little more linear than this approach. And while the back and forth brought some key elements, excuse me, and shed some light on it, and it was a nice approach of helping to discover Joe's journey, it was a little kind of confounding to figure out and keep track of all of it, even though it was a countdown. The flashing got a little annoying, and sometimes felt that it was almost pointless, that we could have led up to it, except for when the end game finally came in and you see the connecting pieces. The flashbacks were just okay for me, but I guess the reason that the flashbacks didn't quite stick around as much is what makes me laugh is kind of the timeless aging of the characters. Little Women is, again, you're supposed to see them growing up through the years, these time jumps that come in. And I guess because it took a while to get to those time jumps, the aging inconsistencies made me kind of chuckle. For some of them seemed to be immortalized in their high school teenage forms, while others grew into completely different shapes and forms that just was a little inconsistent and a little head-scratching. Not only does it, again, make confusion, but that takes away from some of the realism and is a little cheesy, I guess. But hey, I guess if you want to keep some of the strong acting like you do, you gotta bend the rules of youth and actual life. So they did that, and that one I guess those two components when mixed together didn't quite work for me. In addition, I guess I gotta go back and watch it. I don't remember the character Joe being quite as emotionally overcharged, overdramatic, and strong. And even if she is, I don't quite remember it being this over the top to get on my nerves a little bit. For there were a lot of scenes that kind of grated. Understanding some of the struggles that she was going through, but at the same time, understanding that some of her other people had the same emotional ones but kept it in gear. I'm not blaming the actress one bit. I think she did fine with it. But the direction just seemed a little off. That one of them went a little more across the extremes than the other. Let's see. Anything else? I guess the other thing that gets me in is, I guess part of the book and the movie I remember is they went into a lot more detail and integrated the life aspects a little more. While this one was, and maybe that's what the book, again, I've got to go back and read this literary classic, but this one was told mainly through the eyes of Jo, and when the other girls started to get a little bit of their moment to shine, it was very tempered down, very tapered off, and a little short-sighted, to be honest. I can't say that I fully appreciated the fact that some of them just got skimped so much, and these big life events were kind of over with the blink of an eye, and other ones, while lengthwise was appropriate, seemed a little downplayed, all in the grand scheme of Jo. Kind of think the Glee syndrome, where in the first 3 seasons, you know, everybody kind of got a shining moment, but once season 4 happened, it was all about, you know, the character Rachel Berry and a couple of select. That's what this kind of felt like, with Jo being the center stage that nobody seemed to be able to outshine. So I guess I missed the integration of the other characters a little better than they actually were. Regardless, let's kind of wrap this up, because we're at 11 minutes and I've been talking like a chatterbox, even though there's probably a few other dislikes to go with it. Truth is, Little Women, this modern retelling, was fun. And it's still emotionally charged, brings some valuable life lessons, and really gives you characters that you can kind of go on this quick 2-hour journey with to span life. There's ups and downs. It's a good, challenging thing to brace you for potentially whatever's coming in your life, and has some quotable moments that really will hopefully help with kind of being guiding mantras for whatever is coming about with it in your life. But at the same time, it's a movie that still needs a little bit of tempering and work. Perhaps maybe it would have been fine to break into 2 pieces to give the girls the adequate details they need, and a little more honing in on kind of the aging component, as well as the back and forth telling of this thing, and not so much emphasis on one central character. Again, it's a new fresh coat of paint and a story that's been told time and time again, but it works. And if you are a surefire drama fan and really looking for that kind of emotional roller coaster ride, this is going to be the movie of the weekend for you, in terms of just everything. But if you're looking for something a little more fun and movie-wise, this is not the film. Something that could have been on a TV original movie, or perhaps even an upscale Lifetime movie, is where I would put this one. But otherwise, still an enjoyable one. My scores for it, probably in terms of drama, family, and I'll even throw romance in there, probably a 6.5, to be honest. Movie overall, solid 6. But otherwise, I thoroughly, well, hold on, let me change that drama category, probably to more of a 7, maybe a 6.5 at the lowest, but movie overall is a 6. Still, have a good time with it, have fun, and that's my opinions. Please feel free to share and share alike. But yours truly wishes you a fantastic weekend, hopefully with weather as beautiful as it is today. As always, please share, like, discuss, and tell me how I can get better, because my goal is to make this as beneficial as I can for you guys. Thank you very much for subscribing, and as always, I'll talk to you later. Bye.